And welcome to Chicago Corner. I am your fabulous host, Kira McCown, and with me today is Mr. Kit Cabello joining
Cheers
me.
and salutations.
Cheers, indeed. I have a little bit of a cocktail and a little bit of a soda water. I
I
am
should
hydrating and drinking a diuretic all at the same time.
I
You're
should
welcome.
grab I should grab a little small glass of Japanese whiskey. So perhaps when you're doing a little intro, I'll quickly run off and grab myself a little cup of it because let's face it, if you want some good stuff, Japanese whiskey is where it's at. But I do want to say one thing. First of all, shout out to one of our moderators, Edward Heller. He invited me over to a cookout, and I have to say thank you for the food. Thank you for the friendship. And we watched Jimmy Dore and also had a great time hanging out together. So thank you.
Look, he's here.
Yes, we eat well at Chicago Corner because I require
Actually,
it.
yes, we do eat very well at Chicago Corner, and I'm so sad I couldn't make it. I didn't even catch the memo, but I'm
Well, I'll
very
give you
rarely
guys a
on
little
Slack.
more warning next time. This was like a last minute thing. The weather was right, and I was like, let's break out the grill. And I was like, I didn't feel like doing 6 hours of ribs, which of course might be something we'll do in a couple weeks. So I just broke out the grill and made sure that we had plenty of delicious meal type items that were
Yep.
edible. And we had a wonderful evening with food. Food is delicious.
Food is delicious, and it brings people together, truly, in my opinion. I mean, that is what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, agreed, 100%. So there we go. Shout out to Edward Heller.
Yes, indeed. So we have an incredible show ready for you tonight with all kinds of updates from stories that we've been covering, including the Chicago ward maps. But, first things first, I say we go ahead and just dive on into this story that I think that most people in Chicago have already heard about. Let me go ahead and see if I can share my screen in a successful manner so that we can hear my screen as well. So let's go ahead. This was basically the scene in Millennium Park on Saturday night. Let's have a look-see.
We begin with that breaking news downtown in the Loop. Tonight, a 16-year-old is dead after being shot in Millennium Park. The shooting happened as rowdy crowds of young people converged downtown, disrupting traffic and causing police to make multiple arrests after fights broke out. The victim, a 16-year-old boy, was shot in the chest and taken to Lurie Children's Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Now, here's a live look from the Loop, where police have completely shut down Millennium Park right now. Investigators say they have 2 persons of interest in custody for the teen shooting. Police also say they recovered 2 guns at the scene.
All right. So that was the scene on Saturday night. I also wanted to make sure to share a little bit with everybody more about the victim of the scene of the crime here. So let me go ahead and share this next story with you so that we can get an idea of what had taken place and who the people involved are. So let me get on over there as well. I hope that I can find it. Here we go. I might get an ad ahead of time because I had to restart my browser. So I apologize if that's the case. We'll sit through it together. Oh, well, these are kind of fun ads, though, right? Never adopt these 15 dog breeds if you're a senior. Well, yeah, I can see why.
Yes.
There you go.
From a mother who is absolutely heartbroken. Her son was murdered near the Bean here in Millennium Park. And she tells us that her son was a smart kid who had big plans in life. Now, Chanel Holiday tells us her son, Shondell, was an electronics whiz who attended Gary Comer College Prep on the city's south side. Saturday night, the 16-year-old was shot and killed in a crowd of young people his age at Millennium Park. His mother says he had goals and dreams And not long ago, she says she found her son's handwritten list.
Goals he wants to accomplish, and he want to live to use 21. I told him not to go. I said, "You're not going downtown."
So she said on his list of things to accomplish was to live until he was 21. Just, I don't know if y'all caught that.
Come on.
Prosecutors say 17-year-old Marion Richardson was arrested as he ran from the scene at around 7:30 Saturday night, and he is being charged as an adult. Prosecutors say Richardson was quarreling with a girl in another group, and as he was being pulled away, the victim, Shondell Holliday, jumped Richardson from behind and punched him in the head. That's when Richardson pulled out a gun and shot Shondell in the chest, according to prosecutors.
Another male.
I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there.
Can I interrupt? I'm sorry, Kira. So look, I've seen this story. We talked about this a little bit. I've seen the videos. I've seen the post that you and Edward and a few other team members from Chicago Corner have been posting on this. And, one of the goals up there is living up until 21. It goes to show you the amount of corruption that's in our city government right now. Because here's the thing. We have a city government, and we've created a neoliberal environment to where everyone who's struggling to get by in the city, especially in the south and west side areas, are so used to the bare minimum or used to that getting crumbs and staying alive till 21. Is that the best the city's going to offer? Is this the best our city government's going to offer, or the state of Illinois? The thing is, it doesn't have to be this way. Maybe if the city decided to invest into, I don't know, community programs, community centers, invest into our public schools, we wouldn't be in this situation. Look, I understand that in this environment that we have right now, it's a dog-eat-dog world, right? And everyone is on their own, apparently. But it doesn't have to be this way. And yet here we have Mayor Lightfoot, just like all the other previous mayors, being indifferent, not caring about what's happening in the city of Chicago, especially in the south and west side neighborhoods that are being gentrified, that are dealing with environmental racism, such as industrial facilities polluting the air, water, and communities happening all over Chicago. Since the city of Chicago is filled with good people. There are good people in here, but we have the people leading us, the individuals who are supposed to have confidence in, to trust us, to trust in, to lead us as a city, such as the mayor, such as the aldermen. They don't give a damn. Now, there's a handful of aldermen that do give a damn. That's why in 2023, to everyone that's watching, if you know someone who lives in Chicago, or if you live in Chicago, 2023 is our city election. But is it this bad to where now you got young people saying, I hope I live to 21?
Yeah.
That's not even adulthood.
Nope. I would agree with that. And what's really interesting when I read this story, Kit, is that this altercation doesn't actually sound any different to me than some of the altercations that I got into as a kid. The only difference was there were never guns involved. And now, with everybody owning a gun and everybody feeling like they need to have a gun, someone who's jumping you from behind, right? Because they said Shondell jumped up and kind of attacked him from behind. It could be a matter of life and death. And I started thinking about, the Nebraska ballot initiatives that we did together on Sunday on Hardlens Media and all those stand your ground laws, right? And from the way this story is told, I could see something like that kind of law protecting the defendant Richardson in this case. Of course, we don't have those kinds of laws here in Illinois, but I guess my point is that, we're getting to a point in America where it is a reality that at any point, at any time, someone can and eventually will fire a gun at you or near you. This isn't just a Chicago phenomenon either, but like I said, as I read that story, I was like, well, I mean, you're getting jumped from behind, and you have a gun on your person. What's your reaction? Right. And, just so that everyone's clear, 33 people were shot in Chicago over the weekend. 5 were fatally shot. This one is getting all of the press because it was down by the Bean, which is a hot spot for tourism here in Chicago. It is not in the south or west side, swept under the rug kind of shooting like we usually get to see. Instead, this is, right out in the open, right? And so I think that that's why this story is catching so much more fire. And then it kind of moves us into, our next story in regard to like how the city of Chicago and how the mayor actually reacts to this kind of incident, right? So as you expect, there was a reaction from the city. I mean, we can't have shootings in our downtown area.
I
So
understand it. I understand we can't have shootings in our downtown area, but you know what? The fact that the city is, especially Lightfoot,
and to be clear, there was a bit of facetiousness in my voice there. So to be clear, I was being facetious, right? Because I don't know if you caught that, right?
I did detect some sarcasm there, Kira.
Right. Okay. Just making sure. Because if you didn't catch a Kit, I think
No.
our audience may not have,
Kira,
so.
I know that, but I want to just add on to this though, because Lightfoot's reaction is enacting more curfews, and this mayor Lightfoot, I have to say, the city cannot afford a second term of Mayor Lightfoot because she's enacting a curfew that's nuts. The fact that, again, she wants to do this, young people go out, young people live. Kira, you were 116. I was 116. Edward, you were 116. All of you watching were once young and teenagers and want to have fun and adventures. But the thing is, this city has chosen, especially this mayor, has chosen not to invest in the communities, not to invest in the young people, not to invest in the next future. Where do you think young people need to go, especially in the South and West Side neighborhoods where the city has chosen to abandon it and let it be gentrified so that the quote-unquote right people move in, right? Look, the city needs to invest in the South and West Side neighborhoods, enact community programs, maybe not, I don't know, fund the police so much to where everything's a nail and the police are a hammer. Maybe invest in community centers. Maybe invest in people outreaching to young people who have nowhere to go, because that's the thing that's happening in the South and West Side neighborhoods of Chicago. A lot of young people have nowhere to go, and Lightfoot is adding more fuel to the fire. I'm sorry that this thing happened in Millennium Park, and no, that other young man should not have had a gun. None of this should have happened. But the thing is, enacting a curfew, it's only going to add to more problems. And that's the thing about Lightfoot. She always creates more problems.
Well, that's really what we're...
It never will be.
Awesome.
Sorry.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. Love your fire, of course. And that's really actually what we're going to be getting into here, is this whole idea of a curfew. Let's first see, what the comments from Mayor Lightfoot were in regard to this whole thing. Now, this first clip is just under 4 minutes long, but here Lightfoot is going to be addressing the violence over the weekend, but namely talking about the curfew that they're putting in place. So let's go ahead and have a listen to that real quick.
Respect basic community norms, respect for themselves, respect for each other. And we must ensure that every one of our residents and visitors, no matter who they are or where they come from or how old they are able to safely enjoy our public spaces. Millennium Park represents a unique situation, as we have seen recently hundreds of young people gather in one place at the same time. And I suspect that the overwhelming number of youth that were in the park on Saturday night were there to enjoy a nice summer evening and a good time. But unfortunately, as we saw, the scene devolved into one of chaos and violence. Anyone coming into our public spaces should have the right to expect to enjoy them peacefully, as well as respect and exhibit basic community norms of decency. And we just simply cannot accept anything less. For that reason, we are taking a number of steps to prevent and mitigate against any further tragedies happening. First, we are imposing new time, place, and manner restrictions on unaccompanied minors in Millennium Park. Starting this Thursday through Sunday, unaccompanied minors will not be allowed into Millennium Park after 6 p.m. Now, I want to be clear. It gives me no pleasure to impose these rules and restrictions. But having exhausted every other opportunity, every other tool and remedy, we've got to go to this next step to make sure that our jewel of Millennium Park is available and open to everyone. Young people absolutely are welcome downtown, but in the evening hours, they must be accompanied by a responsible adult. And we are reminding also parents and caring adults that our city has a curfew that has been in effect since at least 1992.
When a lot of these curfews, by the way, started going into effect, just so everybody knows.
By the way, I just
Yet again.
Yeah.
So if I can add right now, here Life is again showing her utter disdain or dismissing the real situation, because you're enacting a curfew for Millennium Park. Let's be very clear, especially to our audience that doesn't live in Chicago, right? Millennium Park is a very popular area. It's a big tourist attraction. There's a lot of things there to do, and it's a lot of fun. Hey, Lightfoot. Hey, with this curfew, I don't know. Are you going to do anything to help out, maybe distract young people so they maybe can enjoy community centers in their neighborhoods? Maybe enact or invest into park programs in their neighborhoods? Because on the south and west side neighborhoods, they have a lot of industrial facilities that are polluting the air, the water, the soil, the communities, and people that live there. Maybe their green spaces aren't that really, safe because it's being polluted. Are you going to do something to deal with those industrial facilities that are polluting Chicagoans and their green spaces? Are you going to invest in the public schools so they have more social programs to help out their young people? But oh no, Lightfoot, you just want to add in a curfew in Millennium Park because it's a high-profile area. When you ignore the people in Chicago, the real beating heart, I'm not talking about downtown. When you ignore the people that have lived here for generations upon generations, when you ignore them, they're going to push back. And yes, this stuff seeps into the nice, friendly areas of Chicago. Look, I don't want to see violence in Millennium Park. I don't want to see violence in the downtown area of Chicago. But I also don't want to see violence on the north side, on the south side, and on the west side. If we had city government officials that wanted to invest in Chicago, use the TIF funds, maybe we'd be having a different conversation. But this is Mayor Lightfoot we're talking about. And I remember, she's a neoliberal Democrat that ran as a progressive. And she's a liar. And she cannot be reelected as mayor of Chicago.
There you go. There you go. And that's the truth of it. Let's go ahead and finish listening to this portion of it, and I'll give some of my notes.
Oh, my microphone's
Curfew.
off. That's why you
It
can't
has been
hear
in
me.
effect.
Oh, did you want to say something, Ed?
Yeah, just briefly, I wanted to mention that she started out by saying time, place, and manner restrictions, and usually that phrase is used to stifle free speech protest. So it just makes it really interesting to have her use it in this context for the youth, because it feels to me like she's just using the same playbook to prevent or reduce dissent instead of actually solving a problem. I mean, because
100%.
really reality is, do curfews work? What difference is 1 hour going to make?
None. And there's no curfews on guns, right? And actually, if you look at statistics and numbers, it's not really the youth that is the main bulk of the problem. People in their 40s and 50s are committing crimes at higher rates, actually. So, this is just kind of a powerless class that you can basically do anything to without any real repercussions, is the way that I'm seeing it. But yeah, let's go ahead and finish this clip, and we'll go on, because there's lots more to this story.
Since 1992.
Oh, we're going to get an ad, though.
All right, let's try and get that out. So
In my day,
What's that?
Oh, no, so nothing right now. Let's go ahead and play the video. Sorry.
when the streetlights came on, I knew that I had to be home, no matter the time of year. Right now in Chicago, the curfew for young people is 11 p.m. on the weekends. And this is, as I said, been in place for several decades. We're changing that. Today, I'm signing an executive order to move that curfew back on weekends to 10 p.m. And I'm urging parents, guardians, and responsible adults in the lives of children to make sure that you know what the rules are and that you make a plan with your children and young people to make sure that they safely abide by this curfew that's
All right, now get ready for a lot of finger wagging. Here we go.
been in effect for a very long time. You need to make sure that you understand what your young people are doing, who they are with, and where they are going. And consistent with the ways that dispersals are typically handled across the city, the Chicago police will exhaust all other efforts before they take law enforcement actions to make sure that our young people are safe.
What
That's important
evidence
to
do you
know.
have of that?
Say that again, Ed.
What evidence does she have of that statement?
Which one
Because we
specifically?
that law enforcement will take every possible step before
Oh,
they have to.
yeah.
I
That's a
mean,
great
come
point.
on.
I mean, come on.
You know, very very quick trigger. You know, escalation type stuff going on
Do you know
that
what
they,
this
they
reminds
still
me
need
of?
to deal with.
You know what this reminds me of? Here. You know, by the way, little saying, Kit beat a Super Saiyan of truth. Here's another dose of truth. You know what this reminds me of? Oh, I don't know. Vice President Kamala Harris, when she used to be in California,
Dude,
saying, hey,
that's an
parents,
incredible
parents, you'll
parallel.
go to jail if your kids don't show up to
That's
school.
right. That's
ha,
right.
ha, ha,
Yep,
ha.
yep.
That's what Lightfoot is emulating right there. And the thing is, Lightfoot, I don't know. Do you know the struggles that families have to deal with on the South Side and West Side neighborhoods of Chicago? Do you know what they have to deal with? Do you know that the city has abandoned the South and West Side neighborhoods of Chicago? To our viewing audience or to our Chicagoans who live in this wonderful city of ours, do yourself a favor. Start up on the north side by the Howard Red Line station. Go all the way down to 95th. You'll see things change drastically because the city chose to abandon, our city government officials chose to abandon a vast majority of the people here. There are good people here in the city of Chicago, but our leaders have chosen to abandon the people. And Lightfoot is continuing on that long sad history, which is why she cannot be made mayor again for a second term, which is why we have to look at getting good people to run for office, good people to run for alderman. 2023 is going to be a very important election year for Chicago because we have leadership that doesn't care. That's okay with abandoning the citizens. That's okay with shutting down public schools. Lightfoot has shown in the past that she is thin-skinned. She cannot take criticism. And also, she lashes out at anyone that challenges her authority. Last I checked, she is not the queen of Chicago. And I don't care if she has the biggest dick in Chicago. It's long past time someone decided to chop it off and slap her upside the head with it.
Yowza. Yeah, okay. I was just going to talk about the logistics of that, but I won't get into it. So, you know, what's really telling about her statement, and I'm going to get into another piece of the statement, is that what I just showed goes on for another minute. So she talks about the curfew. She finger wags a little bit at parents. And that goes on for 4.5 minutes. And then the next clip is where she finally starts talking about where teens can go instead of hanging around, you know, without activities downtown. And she spends all of 90 seconds sharing those little factoids. So here we go. Let me share what she said in that regard with
for many that our young people need more safe spaces to socialize and engage in fun and productive activities. And we completely agree. That's why every week there are literally hundreds of activities all over our city that are age appropriate at our parks, our libraries, that are sponsored by faith groups and community organizations. These activities are available in neighborhoods all over our city on the weekends, during the week, right now. What we need is to make sure that parents and guardians, and importantly, the young people, understand that these activities are available to them. Once again, I encourage anyone who's looking for these kinds of activities to visit My Shy, My Future, our umbrella organization that coordinates activities for young people in their out-of-school time. And we will have even hundreds more over the course of the summer. But right now, today, these activities to engage young people, for them to have fun and engage in productive activities exist all over the city in every neighborhood.
Okay. Can I
All right.
please, may I please speak? I'm so sorry.
Yes. No,
I
it's
understand
okay.
you're a captain. I
It's okay
understand
that
you're
you're totally bogarting the show, Kit. It's totally.
I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you. I promise, Kira. I promise. I know I'm good for it. Right? So, all right. Lightfoot wants to open up her goddamn mouth about that. Okay, Lightfoot. Hey, I want to remind you of a person that maybe you've chosen to go to war with, ignore, smear, and also have arrested. I'm talking about Jamal Green. Jamal Green, who ran a progressive campaign for mayor in 2019. Jamal Green, who offered to buy a closed down Chicago public school to turn a community center, who's still fighting for that space. And Lightfoot, in her absolute arrogance for administration, is again choosing to fight Jamal Green for opening up this community center into a former public, what was once a former public school. Jamal Green actually, camped out on the roof and was there trying to bring awareness to it. And what did Lightfoot do? She arrested him, made a scene. And then what she decided to put a fence around the area and add more security lights. That place is still shut down. Now, Jamal Green is still fighting to get that Chicago public school space open to turn the community center to help out young people. And Lightfoot is, I want to bring this up here that Arturo Medina brought up. Lightfoot sounds like a walking textbook. That's who she is. She's not inspiring confidence. And she has the audacity to run for mayor again? Just who in the hell does she think she is? She's an egomaniac and a narcissist. This city, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we cannot afford the second term of Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Yeah, I hear you. Especially when this is the solution she has. Like literally her answer is, okay, we're going to reel the curfew in by an hour. We're going to talk about in just a moment whether or not how curfews work and whether or not they work and what studies show in regard to that. I think our audience is going to be shocked to find out that it is not the most effective and efficient solution to this. But in this clip, after the clip that we've seen, she starts talking about how kids need to put the guns down. And as I was listening, I was reading the live chat and someone wrote, quote, I can't wait for her to say, we can't arrest our way out of this. We can only invest our way out of this, which of course there was obviously it was a sarcastic remark, which I think is really what Jerry is talking about, when he comes on the show and he talks about all of these knee-jerk reactions like, oh crap, there was a shooting. Let's reel in the curfew. Now kids can't be out without parents or else they're going to be stopped by police. And you know how they treat some kids that look certain ways versus other kids. So I think we all know what the outcome of that kind of solution is going to be. And, just to bolster that whole idea that Jerry's always bringing into the show of knee-jerk reactions, I want to share a little bit of this clip here.
Continue to keep our youth safe.
In a portion of a statement, the Chicago Teachers Union shared this. Why does a black mayor of a city with a large population of black residents insist on deepening black pain and trauma? Our youth have experienced 3 years of a pandemic, which followed a lifetime of neglect of their communities. The mayor needs to be doing more to address violence in schools, mental health needs, and entrenched disinvestment instead of knee-jerk curfews and bans on the use of public spaces. The mayor said,
they must be watching the show, Jerry, huh? So there you have it.
Did somebody say knee-jerk reactions?
Dun, 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 dun.
Look, Kira, I'm like very serious about my knee-jerk reactions, and it just occurred to me that I think our curfew just isn't enough. We need to do more. And so right now, from this moment, what we're going to do is we're banning all shots within a half-mile radius of Millennium Park, including, unfortunately, the espresso shots that I was going to have at the Triple Bean Casino and at the Millennium Park Coffee Shop. See, I hastily assembled this promotional bag of espresso coffee just so we could do the promotional at the store. And now, because I've hastily made another knee-jerk reaction, I have to ban shots everywhere within a half-mile radius of Millennium Park. That means not just espresso shots, but also if you have a bar within a half mile of Millennium Park, you can no longer serve any type of shot, not even Malort. And so once again, Rona Destroyer here telling you, knee-jerk reactions are the best. Lightfoot out.
Nice. Very, very nice. Yeah, I mean, and it seems to be. I think that we could have. I think we could have guessed that this would have been the reaction to how this all ended up playing out. And I'm personally even a little bit surprised at how much of a bigger deal this was made simply because of the location, right? And I think that alone goes to show how much like no shits this city gives for some of our most disenfranchised areas. So let's talk a little bit more about. So this curfew order came by executive order, and from what I understand, it's actually usually city council who votes on a curfew. So this was an executive order. And the question really, I think here for me anyway, was do curfews even work? And
No.
if you go ahead.
They don't work. I just said no, they don't work.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then I will go ahead and back up with with the study. Oh, you're muted or something.
I am?
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. No, there you are. There you are. I couldn't hear you there for a moment. He's on. So Ed, if you wouldn't mind scrolling actually, so that I don't get all confused. That Marshall Project.
Okay.
Yes. No hurry.
Give me 1 second.
But I'm just going to start reading through some portions of it, and we'll just give our audience a little visual stimulus as I do that. So, a systematic review of research literature on juvenile curfew programs was published in 2016 by the Campbell Collaboration, a nonprofit that synthesizes research study for policymakers. Campbell examined over 7,000 studies on juvenile curfews and synthesized the 12 most rigorous studies. The report stated that, quote, evidence suggests that juvenile curfews are ineffective at reducing crime and victimization. The average effect on juvenile crime during curfew hours was slightly positive. That is, there's an increase in crime and close to zero for crime during all hours. Similarly, juvenile victimization also appeared unaffected by the imposition of a curfew ordinance. Why are juvenile curfew laws ineffective? For one thing, the studies found that they damage already strained relationships between police and youth of color, and in some instances have blowback effects, increasing juvenile victimization overall crime. Another factor is that on empty streets, there are no witnesses. Urban activist Jane Jacobs theorized that well-populated streets are safe streets. Deserted streets invite crime. A study published in 2015 tested the effect of DC's juvenile curfew on gun violence using ShotSpotter audio sensor data. The authors found that gunfire incidents were significantly more frequent when the curfew was in effect. Curfews remove bystanders and witnesses from the streets, reducing their deterrent effects on street crimes. So we actually see here that curfews do just the opposite of what our city officials are claiming they would be doing in this scenario. So it's BS. This is not a solution to our issues in the city or anywhere, honestly. And I think that some of the things that Kit spoke to a little bit earlier would probably do a much better job of creating solutions for a lot of these teens. Further, when Lightfoot was talking about these these other activities for kids to be doing after school and on the weekends. She mentions that they're at churches and at libraries. And I'm just thinking to myself, gosh, like those aren't really places that I feel like teenagers want to be hanging out, and Ed had actually, I think it was Ed, had posted an article about an LA program that's seeming to work pretty well, and it's been running for about 9 years now. And they're finding that the places that run this particular program actually have a decrease in violence in those areas. And what they're doing is they're leaving parks open late. So literally just the opposite. They're leaving parks open late. They're creating activities late night in parks, ranging from like, I think 8 p.m. until about midnight in rec centers as well. So there are things that we could do. We have tons of incredible parks in the city. We have incredible rec centers in the city. We have communities that want to be doing things to be helping the youth. It's just a matter of activating them and not continuously shutting them down and treating us all like we can't manage ourselves and our families. Anything else?
It's really hard to give a follow-up to that. It's just I'm very disappointed in this mayor and how she is choosing to treat everything like it's a nail and she has a hammer. And as we covered on last week's show, especially on Friday, where the Biden administration is all on board with, hey, mayors all across America, including in Chicago, give all that COVID relief money to the police department. How's that going to work out?
That's a great point, Kit. No, exactly. I didn't even think about that extra funding, right? Well, now we're going to need it if we're going to put a curfew on everybody, and all the cops, are going to be checking IDs now downtown. God forbid you look young. I mean, I guess it's a good thing for the Black youth of America that most white people see Black people as being what? 4, 5, 6 years older than they actually are. So maybe they won't be carded. I actually kind of doubt that. So yeah, I think that this definitely invites a lot more danger and violence and a lot more victimization, not to mention basically creating more juveniles. Really? Isn't that what we're inviting with something like this? So, keeping that in mind as we watch what all transpires with this new curfew in place. Do we know? Let me check. I was looking at the executive order, and I actually don't know if there is a time limit on this or not. It just came to me right now that might be a question to ask. Or shall take effect upon its execution and filing with the city clerk. Doesn't seem to be. So maybe this is in perpetuity. Okay. Anything else, Kit or Ed?
Just disappointed in this mayor. I think this mayor is not fit to lead our city, and she's got to go. Simple as that. No debate, no conversation.
Right on, right on. Okay. Moving on to the next story. So Microsoft consulted with Chicago and community groups before installing 115 air pollution sensors in the city of Chicago, mostly on CTA bus shelters last summer. And they have been collecting readings from them every 5 minutes for the past 10 months, which I just find incredible. In one of the most wide-scale surveys of air quality in Chicago, the stretches with the highest pollution levels in the city were along portions of Austin, Inglewood, Auburn Gresham, Irving Park, and Avondale. An analysis of readings from newly installed air sensors show. So let me show you the map. Oh, I actually think the map is on this article that Ed is bringing up. So go ahead, Ed, scroll down and show us the map that has all the redness on there. That's perfect, right? So here you see it's mainly the furthest western reaching points of the city or the south part of the city. And what do we know about those neighborhoods? Those neighborhoods that just happen to have the worst air pollution in the city? Well, just to give you an idea, Black residents now make up nearly 75% of Austin's population. They make up 77% of West Englewood and 95.5% of Auburn Gresham. So I don't, little coincidence there, but it happens to be the areas of the city that have the highest population of Black folks. And then we have Little Italy, which is a lot more diverse, and Avondale and Irving Park as well, with a much more even spread of all of the demographics. But I don't, again, this is what we call, this is what environmental racism looks like, right? This is exactly what it looks like. Residents
Yeah.
who live in these areas are exposed to high levels of air pollution known as particulate matter, a tiny material that's made up of many chemicals and other contaminants that can lodge deep into the lungs and cause serious health problems. The pollutants measure 2.5 micrometers in diameter or smaller, which make them a fraction of the diameter of human hair.
So I want to add in something here. Heartland's Media, as well as Chicago Corner, has talked about the Mad Asphalt Plant. Mad Asphalt Plant is operating without a permit. Mad Asphalt Plant has a wonderful contract in lineup with the city of Chicago. Mad Asphalt Plant is by McKinley Park. Again, Mad Asphalt Plant is operating without a permit. It was built in 2018 without any of the residents knowing about its construction. No one from the state of Illinois, city of Chicago, or Cook County officials informed the residents that it was being built there. Mad Asphalt Plant is again by McKinley Park, which is historically a large green space area, about 62 to 65 acres of green space. There are 2 schools there. There are homes, apartments, and condos that are by that area. There is a diverse group of individuals who live there, be they Latino, Caucasian, Asian American, all that. The Mad Asphalt Plant, again, is operating without a permit. And by the way, in 2018, when Governor J.B. Pritzker was running for governor, he actually has a picture of himself by the community garden by McKinley Park before the Mad Asphalt Plant was built. Hey, JB, where's the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency? Hey, Lightfoot, what's the Chicago Environmental Protection Agency going to do? Oh, wait, I know, especially for Lightfoot's case, the person she put in charge, Alderman Cardenas, who's in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency, has ties to the Mad Asphalt Plant. But there's more to that. There's a recycling center that's suing the city. It was originally on the north side, now on the south side. There's other industrial facilities that are polluting the air and water all across the south and west side neighborhoods of the community, in Latino and African American communities. Lightfoot, what are you going to do? Where's the Chicago Environmental Protection Agency? Governor J.B. Pritzker, you're running for re-election. What are you going to do to protect the residents of Chicago? After all, look, Chicago is what makes Illinois. I know that might enrage some of our neighbors in the smaller town areas in Illinois, but let's face it, Chicago is the beating heart of Illinois. What are you going to do for the people that live here who haven't done anything wrong? Because I'm willing to bet anyone in any of the smaller communities in Illinois, or even anyone on the north side, they wouldn't like it if there was an industrial facility there polluting their environment, their communities. I'm willing to bet that. Nothing but silence from Lightfoot and Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, and it's so funny. You're nailing the nail on the head.
I'm angry today. I'm very angry today.
No, you're doing, but you're killing it. You're like a step ahead of me, inside of what I was going to be saying, but just in the words of other folks, right? So back in Little Village, Irma Morales, who co-founded the community organization Uneta La Vita, says no one is listening to them. She's been organizing for decades to improve their air quality. And she says, it feels like they don't care about her community, even though we're homeowners and we pay taxes. Like, these folks are, doing what it is we all do day in and day out. Just trying to get along, be healthy, raise their family, be great community members. And Nobody is listening to them. So, so yeah, this is literally proof of environmental racism right here in our own city.
Yeah, I was trying to, when I saw this story, I was trying to figure out, I'm like, why is there a big red spot between Irving Park and Avondale? And I was like, oh, the expressway.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah, so it happened. I mean, there are on ramps and off ramps, and of course you get semi trucks and just normal pollution from automobiles, and then traffic happens during rush hours, and it just accumulates in certain areas, especially when cars are trying to get on or off the expressway. So that contributes greatly to the environmental issues that we're having in the city.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you know, all of the articles that we get these stories from are in the description box below. And you know, this article definitely dives into all of the different locations, what's contributing to that. I know that in Little Italy they talked about how one industrial, you know, company went out, and then Target came in, and that all their diesel trucks like coming through actually ended up creating you know, the same amount if not more pollution than the you know, whatever they had actually purged from their neighborhood through a lot of efforts. So could you just imagine putting in all that effort, all that work, blood, sweat, and tears to get out something that is creating like chemicals to be in your air, just to have it all turn around and another deal be made, just to have it all happen again with another corporation. So, yeah. And then Little says, Kit's been fighting that asphalt plant since I first found Hardlines. Props. Yeah.
Well, because you know what? It's a personal note to me. It's my first story that I really covered, especially when we were on the radio station. And the Mad Asphalt plant, it's again operating without a permit. No one from Cook County, City of Chicago, or State of Illinois informed the residents of the 12th Ward that it was being built. I'm pretty sure, hey, let's have democracy in the chat. Hey, type 1 if you'd be okay with an industrial facility being built in your neighborhood. And you're all right with it. No one told you about it. Type 2 if you're like, F that crap. I don't want that thing built in my neighborhood.
All right, I just voted. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Okay, so again, like I'm just like, well, I hope we do something about this, but you know, with the current leadership in place, I mean, just looking at the last stories we just talked about, we won't hold our breath until maybe the next mayoral election. Anyway, all right, so let's move on to our next story, which is an update on the Chicago ward maps, which has been drama. So Chicago's new ward map will shape politics in the city for the next decade. And it was approved by alderpeople on Monday, so yesterday. The last-minute compromise to redraw the city's 50 wards came days before a deadline that would have sent the issue to voters in a June 28th primary. God forbid the voters decide on what the map looks like, right? The new map was approved in a 43-7 vote. So let's go ahead and take a look at that map. I got it all ready here. So I dropped this link again into the description box. I know that we went over this a couple weeks ago and I put it in that box, but this is a really incredible interactive map. Look at the number. District 2 is kind of a disaster as well, right? And so you can actually go through and see all of the fabulous gerrymandered districts here. You know, some of them kind of look like they could be shapes. Like that one, a little bit, maybe. Yeah.
9th Ward. We got the 9th Ward. We got the 10th Ward.
Yeah, 10th Ward. There we go.
Let's see.
11's looking good. 12 is, you know, there we go. So this is what our wards look like. I know that District 13 changed quite a bit. And District 23, I think, did that shift where Midway was going to be? But I think the big point of contention is this ward right here. That looks like a Q-tip.
That's what, 36?
Yeah, it's the 36th ward there.
Yeah. Who's the
Yeah.
alderman in that
By the way,
ward?
if I can interrupt for a second, could we
Gilbert
show that map
Villegas.
again?
Villegas.
Yeah, could we show that map again one more time?
Yes, I can. Give me just
So
a
real quick, 'cause
minute.
there's an important point I have to make here, and I hope our audience is listening because it's extremely important. So I don't know if we can zoom out for a second, or is it impossible that we can?
Let me see if I can just refresh the page and have it zoom back out. Okay.
All right. So there we go. So Miguel H., that's your homework assignment. So you got to make sure you get all the jigsaw areas together. Miguel H., you got to go to wood shop and make sure you get something so you do the jigsaw. Remember, your homework assignment is due. Edward is going to be a stickler on this one. He's going to want your assignment in. Now, I gave you some mercy. I gave you some leniency. I gave you an extension, but
I gave you some leniency.
That homework is, you're lucky I'm the second in command for 99 Perspectives and I'm the CEO of Heartland's Media in Chicago Corner, So Miguel H., you got your assignment, okay, buddy? But
yeah,
Edward,
this would be a time I mean, even if I tried to do this would be a time consuming one because you gotta zoom all the way in just to get the outlines.
Yep.
And then so you got basically start in one quadrant, take a screenshot, and then move over and take another screenshot until you have everything. And then you paste them all together into a single file, and then you have to go and cut all of those pieces out.
That's right, Miguel. You got your assignment. You better get ready.
Yeah, start working on it. I would make it all out of felt.
Yeah,
if
don't forget the part of the 35th Ward that just got notched out to take me and former 33rd Ward Alderman Dick Mill with them.
Yeah.
I just realized that that's what they did. They notched out a very tiny portion of the 33rd Ward, which is right for people who know what happened or who the alderman was of the 33rd Ward. Dick Mell, longtime part of the Chicago machine, was a longtime alderman of the 33rd Ward. I share an alley with him. He lives like a street over or something. And his daughter ended up taking over after he retired, and so Deb Mell was the alderman in the 33rd Ward, and then she lost her re-election to what's
her brother. No, I'm kidding.
No, Carlos has the 35th Ward. It's I can't remember her name right now, but the current alderwoman is losing me from her ward. I just got notched into Carlos Ramirez Rosa's 35th Ward, along with former Alderman Dick Mell. I'm sure he's thrilled about that.
I'm sure. Well, there are a few people who are not thrilled about this map. So this new map includes 16 majority Black wards, plus the Black influenced 27th ward, 24 majority Latino wards, and 1 majority Asian American ward. It's estimated to go into effect in July, ahead of the November 8th general election. So Alderman Gilbert Villegas was the 36th ward alderman, and his ward's proposed redrawn boundaries, he says, disenfranchises Northwest Side neighborhoods and disrespects the Latino community. You can barely call it a ward, says Villegas on Tuesday. It doesn't really connect communities, which he's absolutely right about. It's literally down one street.
Hey, I will have you know, Kira, that Grand Avenue is a community. It's a community of all the people who travel and work on Grand Avenue. And that is a community which I can completely get behind.
I mean, he should be happy that he gets to be involved in such a large stretch of the city, right? I mean, come on, look on the bright side.
And while it's on the tip of my brain, 33rd Ward Alderman is Rosanna Rodriguez Sanchez.
Okay.
I don't know why I had a brain fart on that.
It happens. It happens to me all the time.
Rosanna used to represent us in our old studio location, way up there by Lawrence and Kimball.
That's right. That's right.
Do we know when exactly this map is taking effect?
It says in July. Let me
Okay,
see,
so
July, ahead of the November 8th general election.
okay, so Rosanna, you got me at least until July, and then I'm Carlos's
Make your
problem.
most of it. Make your most of it. Come on. Now let me show you. We can look at how your alderperson voted, if you like. Let's go ahead and take a look. So here we see that there were 7 nay votes, and everybody else voted yes. The nay votes were Brian Hopkins, Anthony Beal, Edward Burke, Raymond Lopez, Silvana Tabarez, Gilbert Viegas, and Andre Vasquez. So those are the alder people that voted nay. In a statement, Vasquez said he couldn't support the map in part because of it underrepresents Latino communities. He said the ward remap process should be taken out of city council's hands. Beal, who said he was locked out of remapping by the Black Caucus, said the map was a result of backroom dealing. Instead, he teamed with the Latino caucus, where he was embraced, he said. There's nothing fair about this process, Anthony Beal said, if you look at what they've done about disenfranchising people. And Alderman Jason Irvin of the 28th Ward, who chairs the Black Caucus, vehemently disagreed, saying Beal tried to come to the table after ward boundaries were already locked down. He said he took great offense to Beal's comments. And if anybody is curious about actual numbers, I have it that the Latino wards have a point. Latinos surpassed Blacks as the largest racial or ethnic group in Chicago in the latest 2020 census. And right now there are 16, the new map is 16 Black wards and 14 Hispanic. So it doesn't actually represent the actual layout of the turf, basically. If Latinos have more in population, I would have it that they would have more of the wards, or at least an equal amount, but I would probably venture to say more. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
It's more of the same. I'm surprised by certain people that voted yay on this new map. I think in many ways, the city of Chicago should not be this deranged mad person, squiggly lines. I think it should be more uniform with squares. Look, I get it. Like, look, hey, city of Chicago, it's not perfect in the shape to do it, but you're not going to sit down and convince me that one little thin strip, then a big block, then another thin strip is what's going to represent a ward. I think it needs to be a total tear down and proper unified areas. They should be, put in proper shapes. I'm not expecting like perfect squares and rectangles, but bounds of reason here, folks.
Well, and just think about their volunteers, right? When they go canvassing, that's like what I think about when I see wards like that, and like how hard it will be to canvass the 36th ward. That, like, you need volunteers with cars, which is already really hard to come by. Right?
$5. I mean, come on, get the hell out of here.
And then what are they going to do? Take buses to the other side? Because the volunteer office has to be in a certain location in the ward. If the ward is 7 miles long, it's hugely crippling, especially if you don't have money or as much funding as your opponent, and so that 36th ward is a disaster. And if I was Viegas, I would also be livid about how that all shook out.
Yeah. And the thing is, one of the people who voted nay on it was Ed Burke, of all people. The fact that Ed Burke voted no against it really says a lot. And if he's against it, what's really wrong with it? Because he's not the paragon of democracy and freedom. This is Ed Burke we're talking about here.
No.
The guy who asked about is the tuna in?
The question is, I know. Really, the question is, and what I should have looked into, because I was a little surprised at his nay vote too. What I should have looked into is what he lost.
Yeah, what a good old Ed Burke lost.
And that might be something fun to look into. But he didn't vote nay because he thought that it was going to disenfranchise other people.
No, it is Ed Burke talking about.
Let's get real.
That's what we're talking about. He inherited his seat from his dear old dad. We perfected feudalism here in Chicago. The fact that I'm saying, like, Ed Burke voted. Oh, wait. What did Ed Burke lose? The fact that I said I'm agreeing with Ed Burke. Wait a minute. What'd you lose?
Wait a minute.
What'd
Yeah, no,
you lose, Ed?
exactly.
What'd you
Well,
lose?
yeah.
I'm not to approve of your methods.
Yeah? Well, you're not from Chicago.
I love it.
Ah.
Okay, so
Who
you
said
guys,
we don't have fun on Chicago Corner?
I don't think anybody said that, but this guy. Okay, so this next story and final story of the evening is a doozy. And Ed, I think you are the one who shared this story, and I reread it probably 3 times because it is unbelievable.
What, the
love it.
MSN one?
The kickback scheme for the red light. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets better and better every time we learn more.
It's incredible. Okay, so I kind of feel bad that I stole this story from Jerry on Friday, but we're in the news business, right? So we need to keep up with.
I mean, there's nothing written that says that we can't also talk about this on Friday. So,
This
Jerry,
story is
if you
so
want to talk
good.
about it on Friday, I mean, there's plenty of people
Jerry give his perspective
who would not mind hearing your take on red light camera stuff,
stories
because we
hero.
know that the red light camera stories, Jerry's all over that stuff.
Oh, this is such a good one too. Okay, so it's my favorite story of the day. And Ed, if you happen to have the story of the first link in the show notes, you can throw that up there for visual effect.
Yeah.
I have my script over here because I'm going to toss it over because it's a long story. So there's a lot of background to this story about the stepdad and everything like that I don't get into in my own personal script. But dudes, hang on to your hats because this is incredible. So the stepsons of a deceased mob-connected businessman have been charged with participating in a red light camera kickback scheme that allegedly funneled thousands in cash payments to the then mayor of Oak Brook Terrace in exchange for a lucrative cut of ticket proceeds. So James Colucci, 52, of Lyle, and Joseph Colucci, 47, of Mokina, are the latest to face federal charges stemming from a sweeping federal investigation into bribes and kickbacks involving red light cameras installed by Safe Speed LLC, which generates millions of dollars in fines from motorists each year in nearly 24 Chicago suburbs. An indictment made public Friday charged the Coluccis with 4 counts of wire fraud. According to the charges, the Colucci brothers illegally benefited from a deal struck in 2012 by their late stepfather, Dennis Colucci, whose company acted as a sales representative for Safe Speed as it sought to expand to new territory. The agreement with then Oak Brook Terrace Mayor Tony Ragucci called for Dennis Colucci's company, DSC Enterprises, to receive a whopping 14% of the revenue that Safe Speed generated from its agreement with Oak Brook Terrace. According to this indictment, it's unclear from the charges how much money ultimately flowed into DSC Enterprises, but according to available data, Oak Brook Terrace's red light cameras generated nearly $17 million in revenue from 2017 to 2021. Based on the amount that the money that went to Safe Speed, the cut for DFC would have been about $900,000. After the money started flowing, Dennis Colucci, a one-time associate of notorious outfit hitman Harry Ailman, agreed to pay $3,500 a month in cash bribes in return for the mayor's continued support of the Safe Speed operated cameras in his town. And before he died in January of 2018 at the age of 78, Dennis Colucci, the stepdad, met with Ragucci and his stepsons to discuss the arrangement, telling the brothers to, quote, continue making monthly payments to Ragucci after his death. Ragucci, meanwhile, was also soliciting cash payments from SafeSpeed co-founder and executive Omar Manny in exchange for renewing the company's annual contract with the town. All of this, according to the indictment. Unbeknownst to Ragucci and the Colucci's, Manny had started secretly cooperating with federal investigators shortly before Dennis Colucci's death, according to the indictment. Sources told Tribune that Manny made numerous recordings of the conversations with Ragucci and the Colucci brothers. Ragucci, 66, was charged last month in a criminal information with 1 count each of honest services wire fraud and filing a false tax return. He faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted, but sources have said he is cooperating with investigators and is expected to plead guilty at a later date. Wow. So anyway, the story goes on and gives you more background into Dennis Colucci and all of his dealings with government officials, which is incredible.
It just read the part where it says, neither of the elder Colucci stepsons are alleged to have any mob ties, which is a totally believable statement to have just read.
Yes, it's completely believable. It's amazing. And Little says, most infrastructure in my city is just kickback schemes anymore. That's how I feel. I feel like every single thing that the city wants to implement, it's like some sort of scheme for somebody who paid somebody off to get their company to be the contract. Yeah, and that's what we see right here too.
It just keeps going in this article.
Oh, this article is long as fuck. It's got so that's because Dennis Colucci was a very busy man.
Yeah.
I mean, the storytelling is incredible. You could make a movie about this.
This is Chicago. This is Chicago. You know? There's a great movie called The Untouchables, you know? And there's a thing there that Sean Connery says about the Chicagoites. The uninitiated.
He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way. Now, do you want to do that? Are you ready to do that?
I am.
I am. It is the Chicago way. That's right.
Okay, I just want to tell you that there's other things that are also the Chicago way.
Got any fried chicken?
Best damn chicken in the state.
Bring me 4 fried chickens and a Coke.
You want chicken wings or chicken legs?
4 fried chickens and a Coke.
And some dry white toast, please.
You all want anything to drink with that?
No, ma'am.
A Coke.
Be up in a minute.
Great
Dry
film.
white toast, please.
Love it. Love it. So anyway, thought I'd do a little highlight of this story because it made me laugh, and I like things that make me laugh, you guys. So, but that's what I got for you this fine Tuesday evening for Chicago Corner. Let's go ahead and do our plugs of ourselves. Kit, when and where else can folks find you?
Well, of course, we have Heartlands Media, which is live every Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube, Odyssey, Rockford, Rumble, and Twitch. I'm joined here with a great co-host of Jerry Vassilatos, Lainey Peterson, Daniel Lupker, and of course, we'll be joined with another co-host come by June on Friday, who does phenomenal work as well. Again, more on that very soon. If you want to learn more about Heartlands Media, check out our website, heartlandsmedia.com, or check out 99perspectives.tv, where you can learn more about World Perspectives Radio Chicago, Chicago Reacts movies, and TV.
Sorry,
and
I was a little off. I was a little behind. I was looking at what Ed was doing.
And also check out, there we go. There is Heartlands Media. You can check out, again, all of our other wonderful platforms there. Chicago Corner is also part of the 99 Perspectives Network as well. Give it up for Daniel Lupker, FaZe, the wonderful, incredible, outstanding Kieran McCown, the wonderful, incredible,
you're welcome. You're
Give it up
welcome.
for Edward Heller as well, who's one of our moderators. Give it up for all of our moderators, such as Miguel H., Gamer and Ganja for Life, Fred, Edward, and so many others who do such great work for us. Again, we are so grateful for all the support that we are getting here. So, again, if you want to check out all of the shows from Heartlands Media, Chicago Corner, Chicago Reacts Movies and TV, Chicago Plays on Twitch, go to 99perspectives.tv. Plus, Chicago Corner is now on Can TV. We just submitted our first 2 episodes for Can TV. When they will be released, I will be sure to tweet it out very soon. With that being said, Kira, I think you should close us out.
All right. Well, first I want to make sure that Ed plugs anything. Where can people find you, Ed?
Oh, people can you can find me. Where can you find me? Oh, yes, you can find me here, usually on Tuesday and Friday evenings on Chicago Corner. But you can also find me on Twitter at RDD Pizza. And if you want to learn how to make Chicago-style pizza at home, you can go to realdeepdish.com, where you can learn how to make deep dish or Chicago Tavern style thin crust, or you can be really creative and dangerous and try to make that caramelized crust pizza, which is totally worth it if you can figure it out in your home oven. And I post stuff on here every once in a while. There's also there's a Facebook page. There's an Instagram that usually just gets the Facebook reposts. But like I said, there's a Twitter account. Follow if you have a Facebook account, follow Real Deep Dish on Facebook, because that's where most of the current posts go. Like on a Friday or Saturday night, or whenever I'm making pizza, that'll be when I'm posting photos of the pizzas that I'm making. Sometimes people ask me, troubleshooting questions. I'm happy to answer and help out, so you guys can make your own great pizzas at home. It's really not hard to do. It's just a matter of, you like to cook? Do you like to bake? Do you have an oven? Get the ingredients, follow the recipes. You can do it at home.
Hell yeah. Right on, right on. All right, Coolio. And you can find me, I'm just going to take a book from Ed's page here, over at Comfy Fitness, right? So go check me out at comfyfitness.com. This is our website. You can scroll through, enjoy all of the different ways that our website moves. But really what we are trying to inspire people to do is to get moving, mainly people who have trouble in the realm of moving, or maybe movement has not been so kind to you, right? So my specialty personally is I help people get rid of pain. I'm the person people go to when they've tried everything: physical therapy, chiropractic, massage, acupuncture, and nothing seems to work. That's where my magic starts. So come and see me at Comfy Fitness. We also have online classes that include clinical essential somatics, qigong, tremoring, and all kinds of other nervous system modalities that help people move more freely and more joyfully through life. All right. Cool, Julio. We'll see you on Friday with Jerry Vassilatos. And I'll be at Hardlands Media live streaming on Sunday at 11 a.m., where we will be talking about ballot initiatives for the great state of Arkansas. There it is. I almost forgot. All right, cool, Julio. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.